This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to Teach Me Pokemon, the podcast. I'm your host, Cory, and along with my co-host, Jared, we're best friends, been playing Pokemon for a very long time.
Yo, what's up, Pokemon world? It's your boy, Jared, and with me, my co-host, Cory. And Cory, it's been a minute. Like, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember the last time we sat down and did this.
Well, I think we just missed a week. I think the way that you make it sound like we were like off fighting in World War II or something.
Well, we may have been. We were actually in Brisbane as well as Stockholm, and we just didn't tell anybody. Like,
man, how great would that have been? You know, it's so funny. We have this common friend, Aaron Brown. Shout out to the doctor. And Aaron is a big Pokemon fan as well, plays a lot of Pocket. And him and his wife came through town last night. We got dinner with them. And we were at a restaurant. So I went with my son, and then Aaron's wife had her daughter, and they were playing on the play structure. So I was over there. So my wife was talking to Aaron, and they talking for 20 minutes, and I go over there and whatever. And then Aaron and I just talked alone by the play structure. And Aaron's like, he's like, "Hey, Lauren brought up you were trying to go to Atlanta for a Pokemon tournament." And I was like, "She told you that?" And he was like, "Yeah, like she kind of felt bad because she wants you to be able to go do some of that stuff, but at home is just really hard with a newborn and a 2-year-old." And I was like, I didn't know that she told you that. Like, it kind of, I don't know, maybe helped a little bit. So we'll see if down the road things change.
Yeah, but neither of us, most likely a week from now, will be in Atlanta witnessing the Great Rotation, as I'm calling it. But we do have to catch up on a couple of tournaments. And then, Cory, I know that you have run into some adversity, we will say, as the meta is shifting currently on Pokemon Live and what we can look forward to. So I'm gonna hop us in real quick here to looking at Stockholm. Cory, first thing I noticed before I even look at decks or the winner is another smaller tournament. 815 seems really small. Thoughts on that real quick?
Well, are you talking about for Stockholm?
Yeah, Brisbane seems like on par for an Oceanic tournament, but for an EU tournament under 1,000.
Yeah, and that's also hard coming off of EUIC. You'd think there'd be a lot of momentum going into like a Stockholm. And I know EUIC was in London, Stockholm was in Sweden, so it's not the same country. But EU, you can get around a lot easier over there. I don't know.
I will say it's up year to year. I just looked at last year, 675 up to 815. So we're trending in the right direction. I think we've just been spoiled by massive tournaments.
And maybe Stockholm's just harder to get to. Maybe it's more expensive in Sweden. Like there could be some of those deals that hold it back. But if it did grow from last year, then I would say we're still the game is still growing. So maybe that's not an issue. But it's fun when you can look at a tournament like this and it's like in the top 8, you had US represented twice, Denmark, Switzerland, Britain, Italy, Finland. Like it's so fun when these European regionals can pull players from all these different countries. Yet at the end of the day, a name that is very common, Isaiah Bradner, takes it down. Do you think he played Gardevoir because he was like, this is probably my last Gardevoir tournament ever, and he played it?
Probably. I mean, looking back through his personal history, though, like I don't see a lot of Gardevoir. Well, we saw it at NAIC in New Orleans. I take that back, but he's not historically known for this deck in my book. But yeah, I think it's strong. It's about to lose a lot of power. And we always talk about this. It doesn't have a weakness. The only thing it loses to is itself.
Yeah.
So why not? Why not give it a go?
Yeah, why not give it a go? And it was just a murder matchup for probably one of our MVPs of the stall community / control community, Alessandro. He is committed. This isn't like Azul, who played stall one tournament and won and then plays other stuff. Like he's not really a part of the committee or the group. Alessandro, he's committed, Jared. And, this last 10 tournaments, it's Pidgeot control, 4 in a row of stall, control. So he knows what he's doing, but man, the Gardevoir matchup is just so hard for a control deck because how do you stick Gardevoir? It's tough. And so it was sad to see control deck lose in the finals, but at the end of the day, Gardevoir, it's kind of a nice cap off to say, hey, this has been one of the strongest decks since it's been viable for the last couple of years.
Absolutely. And apart from looking at the top 2, we don't really see a whole lot else that is unpredictable here. But once again, you mentioned the diversity of countries. I'm going to mention the diversity of decks. There's not a whole lot of repeat here. And that's really encouraging to me. We expect to see Dragapult at the top. And then any given tournament, we've seen Goldingo in the top 3 most played decks. It's sitting 6th in this. It's just fun to see the mix up. Nothing is a guaranteed win right now. So just really, really cool. And I think this is the best kind of tournament you can hope for moving into Atlanta here in about a week's time, where things are just going to get shaken up so hard.
Yeah. You get kind of the what's the word I'm trying to think of, Jared, where it's like the exhaustion, or you've been it's been the same format for a while, same cards for a while. You kind of start to get to the end of that rope. And then in literally one weekend, the whole world gets put upside down, and that'll be a really cool transition. But yeah, I think this is just a matter of there's so many cards that are playable right now. And so therefore a lot of different decks can be competitive and can win. And I think Stockholm was a product of that. And I think Europe in general typically pushes the boundaries on decks. They're always very creative, and Stockholm was no different. So yeah, nothing. I'm like you. Nothing else really stands out to me. The Archaludon, however you say the name, gets top 4, and I think that is just a glimpse of what is to come. Everything else in this top 8, Lugia, Cloth Terapagos, Snorlax, Stall, obviously the Gardevoir, and control decks are going to change quite a bit. All this is like that stuff's going to go away. But Archaludon, that's going to stay. And so I like that. I like to see that. So
I do too. I'm a fan. And let's continue American dominance as we go over to Brisbane. Gabriel Smart getting the win there on Miraidon. And even funkier kind of top 8 here. Miraidon, we've got Roaring Moon, another Lugia. And then for a minute, I thought my vision was crossed because it looks like Raul's running Lugia, which is like, breathing air. But no, friend of the podcast, Raul Reddy on Gardevoir in top 4. So we've not seen him run Gardevoir in a long time.
Yeah, I actually had to call the Schultz family who runs the Limitless page, and I had to ask them, did you get it confused? Did Andy Chung actually run Gardevoir and Raul? Like, did you mix up the logos there? But yeah, look at Raul growing and adapting and getting ready for new things in his life. And yet still finishes top 4 on a deck that he hasn't been playing all year. So he's obviously a testament to how good of a player he is. But also, I think that stands out. I think Roaring Moon, Jared, has to be a second place deck. Does it ever not finish second?
Listen, Goldingo and Roaring Moon, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, Corey. Always those two decks.
If they matched up in the finals, it would just end as a tie or something. Like there would be no way. But yeah.
But it's good. It's a good. Like I was talking to you off screen about this not a week ago, saying like, hey, I don't think Roaring Moon's losing a whole lot, other than some stadiums and a couple items cards. Like I don't think we can sleep on this deck.
I don't think we can either. Let's see what else stands out to me. Probably easily top 5 best player in the world right now. Ryuki finished 12th in this tournament. He just messing around with Cloth Terapagos, Jared. I think that's what it was.
He woke up probably late, missed the first 2 rounds, and then finished 12th.
He woke up late in his last 2 matches in day 2. He's like, "Nah, I'll play blind. How about that? I'll just see what happens."
Do you know the scene at the end of the first Incredibles where the family lets Dash, the kid with the superpowers, run in the race.
Oh man, no.
They
we're
let him.
not on Incredibles yet in our house.
There's a scene at the end where they let him run in the race, and the dad has to go, like, hey, second place. That is what is happening in Ryuki's world right now. Like everyone around him is like, just okay, it's Brisbane. Let another kid win. Like let third place. Yeah, that's fine. But
yeah,
you better watch out for this man come Worlds. You better watch out.
Oh yeah, no, and I think he pretty much just grabbed. He probably didn't even change his deck from his first place win at EUIC. I think he just picked it up and just went back to this because I'm looking at the list real quick, and I think it's the exact same 60. And typically, you're probably supposed to switch it up a little bit so you can't get game plan for. Yeah, I don't think he cared. So that was cool. I don't know what else sticks out. There was some farewell Gardevoir plays here. There was 3 in the top 10. Henry Brand there, a notable finish. From Europe.
I'll give you a shout out.
Sorry, Australia. My bad. Yeah, Henry Brand. Yeah, what else? What else you got?
You got to throw out Tyson Whaleboat, 79th. On what, Corey? On what? On Slow King.
Oh, yeah. Well,
baby.
Yeah, we're going to start to see a lot of Slow King. That ain't going to be finishing 79th anymore. I think that's going to be a terror as like a cheeky deck if you want to kind of be rogue-ish but still be competitive post rotation starting in Atlanta. That's Slow King. I mean, it was on stream several times in the tournament that I'm going to start to bash later, I think, in this podcast. The Champions League. There's a lot of Slow King in that. But yeah, man, I like that sneaking in there. 79th. A little bit of Golden Go. We had some farewell lost boxes here. Didn't really make a ton of noise. Really, this was just a lot of Dragapult, a lot of Gardevoir.
Yep.
And
what does Miraidon love to see more than anything else? Nom 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 nom. The slow decks. Eat them up. So not once again, not surprised to see Miraidon win.
Very true. I think it's interesting here. If you look at the last 3 major tournaments, I know the big topic globally is America and our fun little tariffs that we're like to put on everybody right now that makes us not very likable. But look at this. Vancouver, Canadian tournament, a U.S. player won. Stockholm, Sweden, a U.S. player won. Australia, a U.S. player won. So clearly, we're still able to travel around and perform. So just want to throw that
for
now, wink, wink. But yeah, Brisbane, 470 players. I think Pokemon is starting to see the effect of taking the OCIC away, the Oceanic International, because now this has been like our 3rd year that Australia hasn't had an IC, like the 3rd season of that. And I think it just starts to not make it as interesting, I think, for players down there if there's not a major tournament for them to be able to go to. And I think it starts to reflect in some of these numbers because I think Brisbane could have had 500, 600, 700 players at it, but instead I think they're dwindling. And I think it's because they don't have that big international tournament like they used to.
And maybe as we see some of these other Asian-centric countries come alive, like we're seeing all of these results from obviously Japan. We know it started there, but we're starting to see Korean leagues pick up in numbers. And I'm just wondering if that becomes more of a pathway, kind of like we see in other esports like League of Legends. There's usually a very Asian-centric league and then a very oceanic. But regardless, there's a lot of interaction right there because travel between is not that bad.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that's definitely been interesting as Pokemon has started to grow globally. It is starting to get into those countries that maybe predominantly have been more like esports heavy. Some would argue Pokemon is esports. I mean, it's, maybe not played on a computer, but you do a lot of practice on live and things like that. So I had one other point. Now I lost it. Oh, it was more of a funny thing. I didn't know Jeremy Lin was in this. He finished 16th. Famous New York Knicks point guard. It wouldn't be a Teach Me Pokemon podcast without an NBA reference. No, it's not Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lim with an M was finished top 16. Natalie Millar, just his cousin. Natalie did really well, 14th place. She's obviously been on a tear of late. And so it was
Yes.
good to see her do well. So anyway, always maybe not the biggest tournaments in Australia, but very star-studded. Always
Absolutely.
star-studded.
Can we just talk real quick about Natalie? I want to list off her finishes. This is 14th, EUIC 2nd, Perth 9th, NAIC New Orleans 7th, Perth 11th, Melbourne 3rd. Those are the last 6 tournaments that she's played in.
Yeah.
And as a result of that has made, oh my gosh, these numbers are insane.
How much money?
Probably about $35,000.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, her total earnings are $53,000 on here. Man, Natalie. Maybe she's our first sponsored player on the Teach Me Pokemon podcast.
I would pick easy first round draft pick. Easy
first round. Come on, Natalie. Come on board. You and Ryuki. That's it. Ryuki and Natalie are 2 players. That's all we need. For Worlds, you taking Ryuki or Natalie or the field? I don't know. 50-50. Well, anyway. All right. Well, good tournament recaps. But it is now time, I believe, for us as we transition now. There's no more big tournaments, right? Except that's part of the old
right.
league.
Yeah, I believe so. We don't. I don't believe there is something this weekend.
Well, there's a Champions League this weekend in Japan.
Sure, in Japan, but I'm talking in the Western world. We don't have anything else before Atlanta.
Correct. I think that was the last tournament of the old set, the old rotation. So we'll see. But anyway, where'd you want to go next? What are we doing?
Well, we have to look forward now. We have talked about ad nauseum what is leaving. We should talk now a little bit about what's coming. And you've been grinding pretty hard in the game, and you've seen a lot of stuff. And I know you got a bone to pick. But I'm wondering if this weekend's results in Japan will maybe be more telling. But Cory, what are you seeing now that our journey together is available on live? What's happening, man? What's out there? What's happening at the top tables?
Well, so the top tables, this has been a progression as any new set comes out. I feel like Pokemon does this on purpose. It's like whatever card is the one when you're on the loading screen seems to be everywhere. Maybe not for Flareon in the last set, but like Roaring Moon was on the title screen forever. All of it. Pikachu felt like it was in every iteration of a deck that could run a Pikachu. It was in it. Zacian. I mean, Jared, the first week that you could play the new cards on live, it was Zacian Archelodon, Zacian Dialga, Zacian with the sheep that I don't even know what the sheep evolves into because I never even saw that. I mean, it's River Room Zacian. Everywhere was the Zacian because it has those hops cards, right?
Yes.
The tool card that is broken. That is such a broken tool card where it hits for 30 more damage and reduces your energy count by colorless. So you just attach the item card and or the tool card, and you can hit for 30 or 60 right off the bat. That's nuts. You throw the stadium down, another 30. You get the Snorlax down, another 30. I mean, this thing is swinging for 120.
It is
for no energy.
It's the DJ Khaled of decks. Another one, and another 30,
and another 30. I never doubted him for a minute. It's so good, and it's fast. You can add even more things to make it hit bigger. It has a big energy hit that it takes 4 energy to do it, but 3 if you have the item card, the tool card. But then you run the Archelodon in there, you can get to 3 energies in a blink of an eye. So this deck has been a terror. It made me switch to Flareon just so I just had a huge advantage against it. But that's what I saw a lot as the first week progressed. Then I would say over the last few days, people have been getting creative. I'm gonna talk about one deck that is probably more of a rogue troll deck, but I think it has potential. And are you familiar with and it's one of my faves, but the Tyranitar. Are you familiar with Tyranitar?
The Journey Together Tyranitar?
Journey Together Tyranitar. 190 HP, stage 2. Its ability is as long as it's active, your opponent can't play items. So that's always been a staple. It's a 2 energy move, hits 150, and then your opponent discards 2 cards off the top of their deck.
Oh, this is everything you love. This is everything you love all in one place.
I had no idea. I'm in this matchup. I see them drop the pupitar, and sorry, man, my cable is like all over the place. And so I'm expecting the EX version. I know there was another stage 1 or one prizer version. And then this thing got into play. I was stuck. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't switch out. They're discarding stuff off my deck. It has 190 HP. This rolled me. It rolled me. So I quit, jump into another game. It was the same guy again. And he just and so then I knew, I was like, all right, fine. I know what to do now. Rick rolled me again. This deck, I think, has potential to be good. Do you not agree? I mean, what do you think? It does all these really good things.
It seems susceptible to what you were talking about a minute ago with hops. Like the minute you lay down, the basic, it seems very, very susceptible. The Larvitar seems like it could get sniped, and you could be really far behind Hop Zacian really, really quickly. That's that's the only thing here that seems kind of sketchy in my world.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm with you. Okay, let me present another one to you.
Come on.
Go to Iono's Voltorb in Journey Together. It's a 2 energy move, does 20 plus 20 for more 20 for each lightning energy attached to all your Iono's Pokemon. Okay.
Oh.
So they were running this. You run this with the big guy with the belly bolt that allows you to drop as many energies as you want. And then the little bird that lets you draw cards if it has energy attached to it. But there's a world where you could really just cycle these Voltorbs and just keep throwing energy into play. And it's not quite like the Xerneas deck I ran back in the day at the Open in Nashville. But it is in a way where you can kind of keep all these energies in play and you just keep hitting bigger numbers. To get up to 220 is not out of the realm of possibility for this little Voltorb. And it's just a 1 prizer basic that just keeps going, because they have that stadium where you can put 2 lightning back into your hand from the discard pile. So there you go. You get your 2 energy, keep cycling every turn, and then you can drop as many energy as you want. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's a really interesting deck, and it kind of, your idea is you need to kill the belly bolt, but then you're still not dealing with all the energy that's in play. And so I think this has potential to be a really good deck, Jared. I know you're going to say, well, it's still susceptible to Zacian, and that's why I led with it, because Zacian's so stupid. But I think this could be a really fun deck and probably could make some noise for sure. Thoughts? Agree or
no, I love those type of decks. It kind of makes me think of the really trolly Clefairy deck that we had at the beginning of Crimson and Violet. And but yeah, no.
3 energy. That was a 3 energy move, though.
That's true. That was a 3. The little Clefairy was. I think you're right. I think this Zacian is a menace, and that's not really fun in my book, because the last time that we had a Zacian card that came out with a set, it was a nightmare, and it was in the meta, and I just didn't feel like it was that fun of a card either. This one feels a little more fun to get some snipe. But I love any time in Pokemon when these combo trainer Pokemon cards come out, and then there's specific modifiers to only certain Pokemon that meet, if it's an Iono Pokemon, if it's a Hop Pokemon. I think that stuff is kind of fun, and then it's interesting to see how it continues to evolve. But a question I have for you here is this the end of Terra as we're going to see it? I don't see any great modifiers for a lot of Terra in this set. Like, is Terra taking a hit as a result of this, or is Terra just really strong right now, and there's a couple small modifiers in this deck that are going to continue to allow that to be dominant compared to these new cards?
Yeah, it's twofold, right? It's they didn't get a lot of additive cards, and now Milotic, I think, is going to be added into a lot of decks that instantly nullifies Terra. The fact that it can't be damaged and affected by Terra Pokemon's attacks is really bad. I mean, for Terra, that's awful. because you could still work your way around some effects and things like that. But the Milotic just shuts that down. So I think Terra is going to take a step back, which can I transition this into a topic that's still a part of this?
Yeah.
Is why Champions League Fukuoka was a lie, was a cheat. I want my money back. I think Japan tricked us. I think they tricked us. This Fukuoka Champions League tournament was a mirage. Okay. I take back everything I said about it. I take back how proud I was that Tord is the only non-Japanese player to break into top 16. Who cares? Because it clearly it didn't matter. These decks are not good. For Alligator, not good. Milotic Farafarig, trash. Noctowl, the Terra Box, awful. Like, this was such a lie. Where was Asian and Hops? Where was it? Like, that should have been everywhere. Where was this Tyranitar deck? That should have made noise in this thing. I just, and you know what other deck, Jared, that's making me upset right now? And it's not really like a single type, or it's not a specific deck, but it's Monkey Dory. Right now, it's just Monkey Dory. Monkey Dory is everywhere. And there's this terrifying spread deck right now that deals with the Frostlass and the Monkey Dory, and then the Badoo just locking you down every turn. Terrifying. Like, where was that deck? That deck could have won Fukuoka. Like, Badoo spread. I don't know what the name is for it, but that's just probably what it's called. It's so good right now. It could have beaten all these decks. It literally could have beaten all of them. So it's like, where's that? Where's that spread deck? I think Atlanta is going to look nothing like Fukuoka. Nothing. It's going to be night and day difference what you're going to see.
That's super interesting.
That's my soapbox.
Well, here's in my mind what's about to change. And this will be very telling, but it'll be a little different. So I believe that Heatwave Arena released in Japan in between what you're talking about and now what we're going to get to see at the Champions League this weekend.
Oh, so you're telling me that they didn't have all the cards.
I'm telling you that. Well, and you're about to see some things next week that you personally would be excited about, including Cynthia's Garchomp.
Okay, all right. I take it back. Hey, Matthew, just edit all that out. Forget it. Let's go over. No,
which is
I need to apologize first to Hiromu Sasaki, who won on for Alligator. Good job, man. Great deck.
Oh my gosh. I just don't know.
So Cynthia's Garchomp is going to be playable in this Japanese tournament. We don't have that yet.
Yeah, I believe if I'm reading this correctly, then we are about to see some stuff this weekend that, again, we always know Japan is ahead of us. We get it. But I believe we're about to see some stuff that is really going to mix some things up for us.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, my apologies. Well, I think it's just more players get to play with the cards. It just always is going to offer more iterations. And I think right now people are testing all these different things, which is really cool, which makes Atlanta both a lot of fun to watch, but probably pretty tough to go play because you don't really know if you're a type of player that likes to counter stuff, or you like to know, hey, these are the top 3 meta decks, so I'm going to make sure I can cover my bases there. You don't know what that's going to be. So it's going to be really hard, but really entertaining at the same time.
Absolutely. And it'll be fun. So we're going to see. We are going to see what's going to happen this weekend. But Cory, this is what's so hard. Will we see Atlanta impacted heavily by that tournament in ways that we can work with the cards that we have?
You talk about Miyagi or Miyagi, the Champions League coming up?
Yes.
Atlanta. If it has other cards in it, I'm going to say no. Because even in the past, we always try to look at Champions Leagues and even the Japan championships that happened before NAIC and think, oh, this is going to be a blueprint. And it still really never is. And so, and especially if the cards are still different, I'm going to say no. I mean, people are going to look at it, but like I haven't seen a lot of Blissey on live, and it finished in the top 4.
Right.
I haven't even really run up against a lot of for alligator, and so I just don't think it's going to be a big. I'm going to say no. I think people are going to iterate on their own. I think teams have been practicing and preparing for this, so I don't think it's going to have a big impact.
Okay,
that's my hot take.
That's a great hot take, and actually, our education moment rolls right into that. The essence of this education is about just that. Like, we have said so many things over the past 2 months about how excited we are for this rotation, for this Atlanta tournament coming up. We're a week away from the opening festivities, 8 days away from the tournament starting. The mindset of a player trying to do better in this game is 2 things, in my opinion. You have to pay attention. It would be foolish not to look at what happened in the past 2 Japanese tournaments and understand what's happening. But, and I'm going to pose this more as a question to you, but my 2 things are paying attention and being consistent. But Cory, how can you be consistent when so much is changing? What would, if your mindset is, I want to do really well at this tournament, what would you run?
Great question. I think to stay consistent, you stick with what you know. And I think, like, we joke about the stall committee and all that stuff, but like I like playing those kind of decks. And even if the cards are different, it's still a similar mentality of what I'm trying to do to my opponent. So I probably roll in there with Milotic Farafarig, with the Ogre Pawn, and I try my best into a play style that I'm familiar with and just go into it. The issue is a lot of good stall players, they're good because they know all the other decks and they know what what your opponent's trying to do. This is a little different because some people flip over a card like that sheep. I have no idea what that evolves into. I still don't. And so it's like, does that have an ability? Do I go Ogre Pawn? Does that go into a Terra EX? Like I still don't know. And so that's hard for a stall player. But I would say, if you are somebody that likes to just draw a ton of cards like Tord does, a Zorark play might feel really familiar to you. If you're somebody that was liking Miraidon or these Roaring Moon, I guess you could still run Roaring Moon or Ancient Box, but you could run Zacian and you probably feel pretty comfortable on a deck like that. So I'd say that's where the consistency comes in, is like, what type of deck are you good on, and look at the current setup of cards and say, okay, now I'm going to do that. And I think that's where you have the best chance to succeed.
I think that's really well said. I'm trying to think through in my mind what I would play. And for me, it comes down to 2 things that I'm looking at the meta. You mentioned it earlier. Like, I think Archladon is a great play coming into this deck because you don't have to worry about the peppering. The peppering helps Archladon in some ways. So going into a Zacian match, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm totally fine with this. Like, we can roll with this all day. And then the other thing I still would stick with is Goldingo. I know Goldingo. I know it forwards. I know it backwards. Yeah. And nothing out there right now is super scary to me running that deck. May I get down early a little bit with running into a Zacian? Yeah, but the prize trades, if I can come back the next turn, is still in my favor. So those are the 2 things. It's like I'm looking at it and I'm saying, like, you got to survive the peppering. There's a big game there with that. There's nothing really to protect your bench right now. And you just have to be able, I think the name of the game going into this is, how can you effectively prize trade with something consistent?
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. Yeah, I think you're spot on. How do you prize trade? And I think just doing your study, that you can get a ton on Twitter. If you just start following a lot of the major players, they're posting stuff all the time about decks they're trying out and cards they like. And so you can start to get an idea of what you're going to go up against, which is usually at a major regionals or at a major tournament like a regionals is almost as good a knowledge that you need to have as your own, knowing your own deck. Yeah, I think that consistency play, tried and true, drawing cards has always been a staple of Pokemon. And so Goldingo, Zorark, some of these other variants that are still able to draw cards is still a good way to go if you're not sure what to do. I've seen people still attempt Gardevoir 2. Go away. Give it up. Not going to work. Not going to work. Because if you're
strong
listening,
words. That's strong words coming from you.
If you're listening to this educational moment and you're like, oh, consistency, I like Gardevoir and I was good on it, I'm going to keep running it. It's not the same. It is not the same deck. And don't try to make it the same deck. Move off. There were some people trying the new Gardevoir against the old Gardevoir because I was doing as much Gardevoir as I could before it left. And I just smacked them. They put that new Curlia down. It's like, okay. Like, cool. Okay. I'm going to Iono you to 2. And how are you going to draw? So it's just not effective. It's just a little aside there. But yeah, as you prepare for Atlanta, because I think Atlanta is going to be a massive tournament. Like you said, consistency, find those things that you're familiar on and just roll into it and see what happens. Atlanta probably will see a couple players that we don't even know who they are make it into top 8 simply because I think it's going to be a lot of crazy variance in this tournament.
Yeah, and that's a great point too. If you're a new player and this seems overwhelming, there is chaos here that the best players in the world cannot account for. Mm-hmm. And that is leverage to your advantage to get in there. If you've been playing with something consistently at League, you see an angle. This is what I'm going to call an unrefined tournament. Nobody knows even with all of the stuff on live and the best players and their play groups playing together, you simply cannot account fully for what's added versus what's missing, even though you should try. That's our other educational moments. So get out there and make some noise in Atlanta with something like Cory was talking about, with something that's a little bit rogue, something that cannot fully be accounted for by the best decks.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I like a good word. But get out there, man. Yeah, play. If you're a new player, I think go for it. I think. I guess sign-up's already done. Registration's over. But
yeah, but watch. And what we're going to talk about after the tournament next week is the evolution of the meta, because we kind of get to start over a little bit in Atlanta, and we're gonna watch decks refine and get better to counter what is happening. We're gonna have a lot of fun doing that on this podcast.
I like it. Okay. Well then, so we'll talk about that next week. This weekend, the Champions League, Miyagi, I'm not saying it right. Usually I say let's predict something, but I don't even know. I don't know. I mean, I could just say Ryuki wins, but I don't know. It would be cool if Tord made another top 16. I don't even know if he made it in, or I guess maybe you get an automatic invite. I don't know. But it'll be fun. Watch it. Check out the future of what the future is.
Check out the future. I like it.
And make sure to buy your Clefairies now before they go up in price. That
Cory,
everyone's going to have one.
Where can we buy such cards?
Oh, interesting segue. Stray Collections down here at the bottom. Oh, you know what? Jared, shame on me. Oh, there's our ticker. My bad. Stray Collections. There's the promo code. It's coming up right. Well, I started it too soon. Teach 10. It's coming. There it is. Get your 10% off. Stray Collections. Check them out. YouTube channel, shop, website. And as always, our YouTube channel, our podcast. Follow Jared on social media. Jared, wherever you're at, they can just friend you.
I'm not there. Just hit me up. If you ever see me in a battle, feel free to friend request me on Pocket. I'm Teach Me Pokemon. Hit me up. Let's go.
Friend Jared on Pocket. Friend me on Live. I do enjoy getting these random friend requests. I don't even know who these people are, but it's I always accept them. But keep going. Do it. Anyway. All right, bud.
That's going to wrap us up for this week. Watch what you can. I know it's a world away and a time zones away, but watch what you can this weekend going on in Japan. We'll be talking about it, like Cory said, next week. And Cory, our audience, we'll catch you later.
You can find us at roguemedianetwork.com. Teach Me Pokemon Podcast. Come and dive with us.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.